Good morning. This is the Blaine's World podcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You get more information at our website, which is www.blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and I'm here in my studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. Each week, we focus on positive news and information about what's happening in Western North Carolina and throughout the country, as well as the Asheville theater scene. And to that end, it's my pleasure to introduce one of my favorite Asheville actors, if you will, and he is Reed Atherton. And Reed, you can wave to all your fans and friends who are watching this. Okay. And this is Reed, and it's really exciting, Reed, to have you on the show because I've known you, I don't know, maybe ever since you were a little kid, or 10 years or so. But this is the first time I've had a chance to speak to you on air. And so what I always ask, Reed, as a kid, you grew up where?
I grew up here in Asheville.
Okay, so you're one of the few people born and raised in Asheville for the area?
Yeah.
Okay. And so as a kid growing up in Asheville, and I think that's maybe I met you. How old are you now?
I'm 18.
Okay, 18. My God. So I must have met you, I think, when you were about 8 or so, and it was in a different context. But as a kid, when you grew up, when did you decide you wanted to be a theater guy?
Well, so I started theater when I was 6. Um, at Asheville Community Theater, I did one of their Tanglewood classes, and I was immediately like hooked by the theater bug and like really wanted to do it. But then I don't think it was until I was like 10 and was doing my first professional show, Gypsy at Flat Rock Playhouse,
Oh, wow.
that I really decided I was like, oh, people get paid for this. This is what I want to do. This is like what I'm passionate about. Like I can't imagine my life without it.
And
So
even as a kid in Gypsy, so you got paid for that role?
no, I didn't get paid for
Right.
that, but I was watching other actors who were getting paid. Um, and it
Very,
was just amazing.
very exciting. When you went to the summer camp then, so that was at ACT, what was your experience there? Do you remember it?
I remember so it was Cinderella Kids, and I
Okay.
played Gus Gus, like the little mouse. Um, and my friend Riley was in it, and she played another one of the mouse. And my parents always tell the story how we would not focus on stage. We would like play with our little mouse tails the entire time. Um, I don't really remember that all the time, but I do remember like loving the theater.
Now, do they have pictures of your time there?
Yes, there is a picture of me like mischievously holding my mouse tail that I played with, I guess, the entire show, which
Now, I
is
have
really
to
fun.
ask you, I don't know if they had it then, but I'm admiring your background and just talk a little bit about the background. And I guess there wasn't a program or playbill for Cinderella, that show, was there?
I don't have one, or maybe I do. I don't know. It probably is in a box somewhere, like stored away. But these are all like shows that I've seen or shows that I've been in. So like this one is Seussical. It was my high school, like it was my last year that I was there. And I played Horton. I did Mary Poppins, and then some shows that I saw, like I don't know if you can see Waitress is back
I do,
here. I saw
sure. Yeah.
Waitress, Anastasia. So a bunch of like a mix of shows that I've seen and shows that I've been in, um, which is really fun.
You mentioned your first show that you were in. Do you remember the first show you ever saw?
The first show I saw,
Broadway show.
Broadway show, was Phantom of the Opera.
And do you remember it?
Oh, I remember it vividly. I remember, so we got the discount tickets from like the
The box.
booth in the middle
Right. I
of
know it.
Times
Yeah.
Square. And we went and we were so I remember seeing that opening moment of like the chandelier rising up and just being like, wow, like I wish I can be on that stage. I wish I could be there. I guess I had a few more years to be there, but I was wanting to be on
Now,
that
it'd be
stage.
very cool, I guess. At some point in time, would you like to be in that show?
Oh, I would love to be in
Yeah. Can you
Fana.
imagine? That'd be great. But even being in Gypsy at Flat Rock, that was pretty exciting stuff. What was your role there?
I was one of the little like the newsboy kids that does like the variety show at the beginning, the let me entertain
Oh,
you.
sure, I know it. Yeah. Well, that must have been pretty cool, wasn't it?
Oh, that was so much fun. And the people, the friends that I've made there, like I still keep in contact with and I still see all over Facebook. One of the people that did the show with me ended up going to the same high school program that I went to this past year. And it's just like the connections that I made there, I feel like last a
Who is
lifetime.
that person?
Chris, oh gosh, I
Okay,
can't remember his last name,
it's Chris.
but
So that's still in touch, and that's really cool that you're at Flat Rock, which is pretty exciting stuff. And we should give a shout out if you would, Reed, because I don't think people realize this. But for you to be at Flat Rock, I think we should give a shout out to your parents because for you to be at Flat Rock, I assume you weren't driving at the age of 6.
oh no, definitely not. It was definitely my dad, Andrew Atherton, and my mom, Mary Beth Atherton. And ever since, because in Gypsy, there's the whole Mama Rose
Right,
joke of like um, calling somebody a Mama Rose. So now we call my dad Papa Rose because he like takes me to all of my auditions. He went with me to all my college auditions this past winter. Um, it's so that's the joke. He's Papa Rose to me.
Well, but and seriously, I have to give him credit, not just him, but all the Papa Roses and the Mama Roses out there, because you don't realize how much time they put into it. You know, like you said, to take you to rehearsals and then have to wait around and then have to pick you up afterward. It's a major time commitment to it too. So I guess you're lucky in the sense that both your parents were very supportive of your career, your theater desires.
Yeah, no, I'm forever grateful that they took it upon themselves to take me to the theater and to get me doing what I wanted to do.
Did they ever push you, or did you ever feel that you were pushed to do something?
I think if I ever was pushed, it was more out of a place of love. Like I can't say I was ever pushed to an extreme. I think if I said that I didn't want to do something and like I really did not want to do something, I would step out of it. But like even before my first theater class, I was like, I don't want to go to theater class. I don't want to do theater. Like that's weird. And they were like, you have to try it once. Just try. I think it was a place of encouragement to just try everything. Which
What
was
was your
amazing.
first theater class?
Uh, Cinderella that I
Oh,
was talking about.
in the production. Okay. And so
Yeah.
you recall you were like kind of apprehensive about it beforehand?
Yeah, I remember just being like, I don't really want to do the theater thing. I was like, I don't know what this theater thing is. I don't see myself on a stage.
But the rest is history. Trace it if you would then. So from the time you were at Flatbox, kind of trace the rest of your theatrical background up to where you are now. So you went to school, were you always in theater productions?
Yes, so throughout like middle school and high school, I did a bunch of theater productions, things at Asheville Community Theater, Asheville Performing Arts Academy. And then my junior year, I decided that I was going to audition for University of North Carolina School of the Arts and their high school drama program. And I was accepted. And so this past year, I was at University of North Carolina School of the Arts doing their high school drama program. And then, yeah,
That's pretty exciting. Where is that located?
in Winston-Salem. So it's a beautiful artsy town.
Wow. So you spent the past year, your senior year, you were living there?
Yeah. And it was boarding school. It was like pre-college, honestly. It
Oh
felt
my,
like, yeah.
very exciting. And were you a bunch of productions when you were there?
They don't have their actors in high school act like in any of their productions, but I did get to do like little theater skits, little showcases, things like that. I did plenty of theater there. So
And so you said you're an actor. Were you doing behind the scenes stuff, or what else were you doing when you were there?
mostly just learning, a lot of learning. There were so many classes. We had about I can't even think of the number. We had seven like actual classes that we had, but then those got split up into like 14 classes throughout the entire week of just theater.
How cool is that? You know, so in addition to regular high school, yeah, they also do regular high school stuff as well.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
had like my regular high school classes and I would go do theater for like 4 hours and then I go back to high school and then it was just so much fun.
oh, can you imagine how many people were in that class?
There
Ballpark.
was 20 people. It's a
Wow,
20
very
person class.
exciting. And so they were all from all over the state.
all over the state, all over the country. We had somebody from Washington, D.C. We had somebody from, I think, Illinois. We had somebody from Virginia. So around the state and the country.
Do you recall your audition for that?
I remember, yes. So it was like a video audition,
Okay.
and I filmed it in a studio at the River Arts District, and yeah, it was so much fun.
What was the audition?
I did two monologues and a song and an interview. It was very short, and I remember watching the videos and being a little scared and being like, oh, I don't think it happened. Like I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think I got it. Like I don't think it's for me. But
Talk about um something, Reed, that I always find amazing with actors, and that is, I guess for you, is it relatively easy for you to memorize stuff?
it depends on what it is, honestly, because music, yes, I can memorize like a song really fast, but I guess that's just because it's catchy. But then there would be nights where like I had to memorize a Shakespeare monologue for some of my college auditions, and I would just sit in my dorm room and be trying to memorize. And Shakespeare, you have to memorize it word for word, like very specifically because of
Sure.
the way it's structured and the verses. So I would sit in my dorm room and be like, oh no, that word wasn't right. I have to go back and redo it. So that was
It,
difficult for me.
it's funny you mention that because I kid with actors, and you probably have never done this yet, like a one act, one person play, I kid with them because the advantage to doing that is if you screw up a line, nobody knows excepting you, but you have other actors, they're dependent on you a little bit. But so you haven't done, I guess, a one person play yet at this point in time.
No, but I've thought about like I wanted to write something that's like
Cool.
one person, but and like be in it. But I feel like I don't have that talent. I don't know if I could self-generate by myself on a stage.
Well, what you could do, which would be fun, is just do a short version, so you don't have to do a whole one, you could do a one act thing or 30-minute thing, 15-minute thing, but very cool. Let's kind of fast forward a little bit. So you went through high school, and then now you have a play upcoming. Let's talk a little bit about that. That's the name of the play is
You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
okay,
Yes.
Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, and give the specifics of it, then we'll talk a little bit about it.
So it takes us with all our favorite Charlie Brown members. We have Charlie Brown, Linus, Schroeder, Lucy, Dolly, and Snoopy. And the gang, kind of navigates baseball and crushes and all sorts of fun little things. And all your favorite moments from the Charlie Brown skit are included. And there's music in it too. So it's a really fun musical.
Now, had you been as a kid, listen to me, as a kid, had you been a Charlie Brown fan? Or
Yes, I have been a Charlie Brown fan, and then I was actually in the show when I was 9 at ACT. They did like a youth production of it, and then now I'm back doing the show
do you remember
at
the show?
18.
Do you remember the show from when you did it?
I think I remember vividly. There was a lot. I remember the one thing that I do remember a lot is that there were a lot of people in the show. There was about 30 people in the
Really?
show,
Yeah.
and that show only has 6 characters. So we split up the characters, which was really fun.
So to give everybody a chance to, I guess, be in it.
Yeah.
So now you only have 6 characters, and who are you in this character, in this one?
I will be playing Charlie Brown, which is very exciting.
For the benefit of the folks who don't know the story, could you give me, Reed, if you would, kind of the Reader's Digest version of it, the short version of what folks will be seeing when they see it?
Yes. So Charlie Brown is what we call a vignette show, which means it's a bunch of like smaller scenes, kind of pasted together. It's kind of very cartoonish if you know the Peanuts cartoons. And there's like little comedic beats. So there's not really a plot. Kind of the through line of the show is a day in the life of Charlie Brown, and it takes us through all of it. But there are so many funny songs. There's a song where they're at a baseball game and they're trying to win, but Charlie Brown always struggles with sports. And then there's a song where they're at a Glee Club rehearsal. It's my favorite song in the show. They're at a Glee Club rehearsal and they're like passing a pencil around and stealing each other's pencils and not singing the song that they're supposed to be singing. It's hilarious. That's my favorite song in the show. So a lot of funny moments.
And so for the show itself, as describing it, it certainly seems appropriate for kids to see the show. How about will adults enjoy it as well?
Oh, definitely. I think like it is so family friendly and geared towards family friendly, but I also think kind of a beauty about Charlie Brown is that, and specifically this show, is I think when we tell the story through a lens of like children, we think, oh, like they're children, these aren't experiences that we have like as adults, but you really see yourself a lot in these characters. um, I found myself a lot in Charlie Brown specifically because I think he has a lot of hope, a lot more hope than we put on him. And I think as humans, we have that sort of same sense of hope. And so I don't think it's far off. You know, we might view this show from a lens of a child, but I don't think it's far off
And
from
what
adult world.
one of the nice things about you being in the show, you were telling me off the air, is that some of the people you're in the show with. Is that correct?
Yes, the cast is like amazing, so much fun. My friend Riley, that I was describing earlier, Riley Oswald, who I did my first show with, is playing Snoopy. My friend Ellsworth Sullivan is playing Lucy. Graham Pedraza,
Oh, sure. Oh,
uh,
I'm excited. A big fan of
uh,
Graham's. Yeah.
yes, of course, grew up doing theater with him too, is playing Linus. Joby, I don't know how to say his last name. Joby Lavery, maybe is his last
Okay.
name, is playing Schroeder. And then Kelly, oh gosh, I can't remember her last name. Kelly is playing Sally. And it is such a great cast.
Well, how is it then? That's kind of cool that you've acted with all of them or most of them. Is that make it easier for you, or do you enjoy it when you've acted with people?
It honestly, every single time we're on stage, it feels like coming home, like it feels like coming home to these people. Like, because the Charlie Brown gang are childhood best friends, and it feels like actually seeing your childhood best friends on stage. And it's so hard sometimes because there's a lot of funny moments in the show, and it's hard to sit there and not laugh because I know these people, and I could easily look at their face and they could make me laugh. But it's it's so fun to be
Well,
honest.
it's great as compliment to you. You're making me laugh just hearing you talk about the story. And we should also give a shout out, if you would, to any show. You have a great cast, but you also talk a little bit about, if you would, your director, and you have a musical director in this as well. Talk about them.
Yes, Marcy Bernstein and Linda Schuler are our director and music director, respectively. Um, they are an amazing team. I actually grew up doing theater with them too. So they were both my director for, I did Aladdin with both of them. Marcy's helped me with a bunch of theater things and has directed me through. And then also Linda they're wonderful, wonderful, talented people. And I can't say, so like, I can't think of the words to express.
Something I ask actors a question. I'll ask you this question, having to do with down the road. Do you see yourself ever wanting to direct?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Because you were talking, I can see the play you're going to write about yourself or your background, but it's interesting. So you can't really talk about it. So you've never really directed at this one time. Is that correct?
I've directed like a few student written things and student productions, but I don't think I've ever directed a full scale musical or play yet. So,
Would you want to do that sometime?
oh, definitely. Like that I feel like is the next step almost for me right now. Along with continuing my acting training and stuff, of course, but I really want to direct.
This thing, I'll ask actors who become directors or vice versa, what do they prefer? And it's interesting, Reed, that most actors say they prefer directing, but they don't tell the real reason. I don't know if you've ever been told this, but the real reason is you don't have to memorize the parts. That way, director, has to sort of know everything. But that'll be down the road. Also, what folks don't realize, and if you could talk a little bit about this as well, is how much time and effort it takes to put on a show. Like you've been working on this show for how long?
Well, so I was cast originally as Charlie Brown all the way back in February.
Right.
And so I knew I was playing Charlie Brown from February on, and I got my script and I started memorizing part of the show. And then we started rehearsals back in the middle of June or maybe early June. So yeah, so it's been 2 months, a 2 month rehearsal process almost.
And for the benefit of folks who don't realize it, when you're in a rehearsal process, how long are you rehearsing? Like every night or every other night, or how does that work out?
We rehearse, for us specifically, we rehearse 4 times a week for about 3 to 4 hours a night. Um, so yeah.
So you're putting a lot of time into it, and that's why I so encourage people to see live theater, because you're only doing it, what, how many weekends? 2 weekends or 3 weekends?
2 weekends.
2 weekends. Wow. So there are only 6 opportunities, right? 6 times you're doing the show.
Yeah.
Now, is this because it's also directed at kids? Normal times, or are there different times when the show is run?
So there's a show every Friday and Saturday at 7:30,
Right.
and then Sunday 3 p.m. matinee. So if you have younger kids who maybe need to go to bed and can't stay up as late, you definitely bring them to the Sunday matinees.
But folks only get 6 chances to see the show. So, and Parkway, it's, fairly nice as theater, but I imagine it's probably going to be pretty popular, you think?
Oh, I hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's one of the reasons you're on the show. And so you're rehearsing, and then what happens then? Talk about the week leading up to it. So the show opens up, read what date again?
We open up August 4th.
Okay. And so people want tickets the 4th, 5th, 6th, and the following weekend. How do they get tickets?
They go to parkwayplayhouse.com and you can click on the ticket link, or you can go to parkwayplayhouse.com/tickets/get tickets.
Okay. And what you should mention too, and different places call it different things, but the week leading up to the production, you're really intensive rehearsals. Like some people, they're trying to get away from it, but some people call it Hell Week, or they call it other things as well, Tech Week, but that's you're working even longer that week, right? You have longer
Oh yeah,
rehearsals.
that week we have rehearsals every single night. The good thing about this show is I'm like, as an actor, I don't feel nervous for Tech Week. Marcy and Linda are like so good at directing and music directing that they make sure that we are coming in with an abundance of support and with knowledge about the show. So of course it's going to mess us up a little bit when they add the elements like the lights and the sound system and all that stuff. But I also don't feel nervous because I feel like it could go perform the show tomorrow and it would look fine, you know?
When you perform, do you get nervous?
I think I get nervous for like the first 1 or 2 times. Like I'm like, how are people going to perceive that? But also I think it also depends on how well prepared you are. Because I think I'm not really nervous for this one. I feel like I'm very well prepared. I feel like the entire cast is very well prepared. We're ready to tell this story.
What about when you have people in the audience, who know you, or I guess obviously your folks and your sister? Will your brother be able to see this as well? Will he be around?
Yeah, I think my brother is going to be able to see it too. Yeah.
Okay, great. But do you like having people in the audience? Does that bother you or make you more nervous?
Oh, I love it. But sometimes I don't like knowing who's going to be in the audience that night. Like, I'm like, just don't tell me who's going to be in the audience that night. Cause I sometimes I tend to have a problem where I try to play towards that person. Like I'm going to play towards my mom or I'm going to play towards my dad. And I want to just treat them like a regular audience member.
So it's better that you don't know where they're sitting, even,
Yeah, it's way better if I don't know where they're sitting.
Okay. And again, to their credit, I guess when you're younger, they would see every performance you would do.
Oh yeah, my parents were. I don't know if they'd see every performance, but they definitely had seen every single show that I was in.
Oh, sure.
And they were consistently like going to see the shows.
How about your sister? Does she see your shows?
Yeah, and she sometimes rolling her eye as she comes to see the shows, but I think she enjoys them. I hope she enjoys them.
And talk about her and also your brother. Do they act at all, or are they going to?
No, they're both like big STEM field people, and they are like so incredibly smart. It is so fascinating to watch them talk about, because they'll be in the car talking about math stuff, and I'll also be in the car. And they're super smart, and I'm just like, I do theater, like I act, like I can play pretend on stage.
But that's kind of cool that you don't have the same thing, or it'd be maybe boredom if they all did the same thing. Now, if you folks acted also, can you imagine? It'd be
Yeah, my parents have both been more in the like English and language arts fields, but I don't think they've ever done anything real theatery. My dad used to be a big band person, and he almost went into band. So I guess that's kind of where I get maybe some of my music from.
and you'll check
But
with them off the air, or I will. I think it was even in one thing with me several years ago. They did I don't know if you saw it, Business Sings Broadway. And I think he sang a song with me, or he's in
yeah,
that
I think I
production.
remember that.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I do remember I have a picture with him in that as well. So let's see, this run sent through the second week in August. Do you have anything upcoming? So I cut you off before. So after you graduated high school, you had the summer here, then you're going to college next year. Is that correct?
Correct.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Emerson College in Boston.
Oh, cool. For theater?
Yes, for theater and performance.
Very exciting. So that was a whole thing. You had to audition for that as well?
Yeah, I auditioned for about, I want to say 15 schools
Wow.
this past fall and winter. And then Emerson ended up being the place that I chose. I really liked their program. I'm able to do more writing and directing there too, hopefully in the future, which is really exciting. So that's what I really liked.
That must have been an exciting process or a very challenging process when you're going through auditions to get into college. Was that, I guess, also nerve-wracking for you?
Oh yeah, and it was an extra challenge because there were so many colleges, and not, of course, not every college can accept everybody. So it does come with a lot of rejection, unfortunately. And I had to learn how to not really take it personally and not take the rejection personally, but just, breeze by it. It's just another day. So I would be in like an acting class, and I'd get out of an acting class and I'd get an email that said, you unfortunately did not get into our school. And I'd be like, all right, like next one, like on to the next.
Well, you just shared, and I'll ask for maybe advice for others, but it's pretty good advice also with respect to even auditioning, because I assume you've auditioned for roles and you didn't get every role you ever auditioned for.
No, definitely not. I think it's a lot about learning how to properly, be rejected and stuff like that. And that doesn't mean that you don't have feelings in the game. I definitely, there are some schools that I didn't get into that I was like, ooh, I really wish I got into that one. And I definitely had feelings, but it was more changing the mindset on it and not thinking, oh, this is what they're trying to say about me. Like they're trying to say this about me. It's more, they only have a limited number of spots and I just didn't fit in.
Well, Emerson, I think is going to be a great choice for you because you're going to love the area. What a great
Yeah.
place to go to school too. Now, you were at Emerson, or did you visit the school as well?
Yeah, I visited this school back in 2021
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed it. And I really love the Boston area. So I
sure.
was like kind of hoping that I got into a school that was in Boston or in a big city in general. I really love a big city, but Emerson ended up like when I got in, it ended up being the perfect place. And I was like, this is like it felt like the stars were aligning and it was just the perfect place
And
to be.
especially for, I guess, from a theater standpoint, it's exciting to be in Boston because there'll be a lot of theater available. But it's interesting, Reed, and I discovered that in Asheville, there's also a lot of theater in Asheville. It's incredible that even though they have quote two fully professional theaters, there are another 10 or so of theaters out there that put on good stuff. And
No, there is so much theater in Asheville. That's what I've learned, I guess, after coming back from school, is there's so much that's advertised. And I'm like, oh, I want to go see that. I want to go see that.
well, same thing here this weekend. I think I'm going to try to see three shows or something. So
Yeah, I'm
it's
going to see a show on Friday too. Yeah.
what are you seeing?
I'm seeing Bat Boy at ACC.
Well, I'm going, yeah, too. That'll be a lot of fun too.
Oh, that's gonna be so much fun.
How many theaters in the area have you been in?
I've done I'll list them off. So I've done ACT,
right?
of course. Parkway Playhouse was my first time with Parkway Playhouse up in Burnsville. Um, I did my high school, Inca High School. I did Asheville Performing Arts Academy,
Okay.
where I performed in Diana Wortham and Magnetic Theater. I've done shows at Magnetic Theater. So I want to say six theaters.
Do you have a favorite place you performed at?
They're all so cool. I will say, I think Magnetic is especially cool because the audience is right
Oh,
there,
that's true. Yeah.
and getting to be that close to the audience is so much fun.
And Magnetic also, of course, you have the great dressing rooms, right? I'm being facetious,
Yes.
It's really cool if you're in a show with a lot of people. It's like the smallest dressing room, and you have to squeeze everybody in there. And it's not a co-ed dressing room. It's just you have the one dressing room. But moving forward, so to be in college, do you have any down the road any other theater plans that you have in mind?
No, I think I'm just seeing where college like takes me. Really right now, like that's my priority is just my education and trying to continue that.
Do you have a favorite show? I'll ask you two ways. None. One, in terms of shows you've been in, do you have a favorite show you've been in,
Ooh, that one's a hard one.
or one or two of them?
I think I really liked this show right here, Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay,
It's a Shakespeare show. I played Puck, which is like a fairy creature type
sure.
thing, which was so much fun.
Where was that?
Inca High School.
Out there. Very cool that you did it
And it
there.
was so cool. We did it outside because it was during COVID years. So
Yeah.
the set was beautiful. The mountains were in the background and the sun would set over the mountains while we were doing the show. It was absolutely gorgeous.
And aside from your upcoming show, do you have some other show you'd like to be in? What's your dream role in a show?
Ooh. I'm really looking forward to I want to do more plays. I haven't done a whole lot of plays, and I don't know, there's not like a particular role that's like coming to mind. Um, but there's actually no. So there's a character from a play that I did one of my monologues from. There's a play called The Inheritance. It's this 8 hour long play, and I don't think anyone is probably going to produce it anytime soon because how long it is. But I really want to do an 8 hour long play. Like I think that would be really fun.
Who did the play? Who's the
It
play
was
by?
done on Broadway, and it's by Matthew Lopez.
Okay, 8 hour play. Well, I imagine two. If and they haven't done too many long plays in this area, but you have to split it into two, I guess.
Yeah,
Wow, 8 hours, that's all play. Anyway, Reed, I'll ask you to recap one more time. If people want to see you in the upcoming show at Parkway, if you would please the dates and the ticket information for that one.
yes, you can go see Charlie Brown at Parkway Playhouse Friday 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then Friday, August 4th, 5th, and 6th, and August 11th, 12th, and 13th. And you can go get tickets by going to parkwayplayhouse.com.
Okay, and again, you're in for a treat, I think, if you see this show, because anything Parkway does is a lot of fun. And this is going to be exciting to see you in your first time at Parkway.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
No, I definitely think everybody should come. It is hilarious. You will not stop laughing. It is your all-time favorite Peanuts characters. It is so silly and so
and on
much
this
fun.
one, I should ask you, do you now drive?
It is a little bit of a drive.
No, do you drive?
Oh yes, I do drive.
Oh, so you get to drive up there to go. Your folks don't
Yeah, I
have to
get to
take you.
drive, and the drive is gorgeous,
It is.
honestly.
Yeah. I'll just tell you though, quick final warning, be careful on that. Don't speed on that road because everybody gets a
Oh,
ticket.
I know. I've heard that so many
Oh, I'm
times.
telling you,
That's
for
no, I've honestly that's what I've heard a lot. But
yeah.
I've been lucky.
Okay, but
So
you just be careful. But it's like it's a beautiful drive, and it's a lot of nice restaurants in Burnsville. And I think people are in for a treat if they see Reed Atherton and company in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Right.
yeah,
Anyway, I'd like to thank you for being my guest on this issue of the Blaine's World podcast. And hopefully, Reed, we will get to see you soon, buddy. Thanks.
perfect. Thank you.